Take a moment and picture in your mind's eye, what does a mountaineer look like? And do I look like a mountaineer? I've always had this dream of climbing and skiing the biggest mountains in the world and using my platform as an athlete to protect our planet. And when I told people about my dreams, I was met with skepticism. You're too small, you're not strong enough. You don't have that look in your eyes like a mountaineer like Cody Townsend does. They told me my dreams were impossible for me and either humored me or told me that I would die trying. Something about me just didn't inspire confidence. When I started dating my husband, Park City local Rob Lee, he was relatively new to backcountry skiing, and I would often take him out on ski tours. When we were out in the backcountry, people would always assume that he was my mountain guide, and they would ask him where we were going. When we decided we were going to attempt to climb Mount Everest, people would ask me if I was going to base camp, and they would assume that he was going to the summit. It's also been really difficult for me to find technical ski mountaineering gear in my size. If a company does make it, it's in extremely limited quantities. It's super hard for me to get my hands on. And when you go to buy a piece of gear and it doesn't come in your size, it instantly sends this signal of exclusion, like you don't belong where you want to go. And when I go to my iPhone keyboard to use an emoji to describe my day, there's no female ski emoji. It's mind-blowing. Maybe emojis don't matter, but when more than 6 million emojis are being sent every day, it's a subtle sign of a bigger problem. When I learned about implicit bias, I felt a sense of relief because I finally had the words to talk about these forces that I had been feeling for many years. It's this subconscious or perceived bias from onlookers and peers that perpetuate unrealistic roles for women. And how implicit bias manifests itself can vary, but one way I've really felt it in my career is this prove it again mentality, where women have to keep proving themselves over and over and over. And when we do have a success, it's often attributed to luck, not skill. Now, I never really wanted to become a spokesperson for gender equality. It's like so awkward to talk about. But after a decade and a half of working in a male-dominated snow sports industry, I felt I had to speak up. I decided to start this hashtag Climb for Equality campaign to introduce a fun way to approach an uncomfortable topic. I know a hashtag isn't going to change the world, but when you look at who's at the top, you still see an absence of women. Women make up over 50% of the population, yet they're only 11% of Everest summiteers, only 6.6% of Fortune 500 CEOs, and 6% of venture capitalists. Most disturbingly, girls' self-confidence peaks at age 9. And I've come to learn advocating for gender equality, it's not just a woman's job, it is everyone's job. And we need strong men on board. Right now, my partner, my husband, Rob, has rode almost 2,000 miles on his bike in the last 20 days across America to raise awareness of men's role in advocating for women's equality. Yeah, he needs that love right now. He's got some saddle sores, he's got a very sore butt. So why does this matter to outdoors people? Because how we treat people is how we treat the planet and how we treat the environment. And if nature is a mother, it is in our best interest to elevate the status of women, girls, and mothers around the world. So in my career, when I was starting out, I was not only greeted with skepticism. After some time, it turned into harassment. When I talked about environmental issues, I was told to shut up, called a glacier killer, a hypocritical eco-terrorist, a polluter, and an egotistical, stupid little girl. Over and over, I've been told I'm a Gumby who doesn't belong in the mountains, and I have no business speaking up about climate change, clean air, and protecting public lands. Now, those are all tactics to silence someone, and we can't let that happen. We need to listen to women's voices and follow women's leadership in the mountains and beyond. And today, people all over the world are following the leadership of young climate activist Greta Thunberg and striking to protest government inaction on climate. So I feel like we're moving in the right direction. Needs to happen a little faster though, especially the climate action. So there's this growing body of work that is examining a link between climate deniers and the anti-feminist far right. I know this sounds kind of kooky, but hear me out. In 2014, a published paper focused on the language of climate skeptics and said, this group sees the world as separated between humans and nature. They believe humans are obligated to use nature and its resources to make products for them. I've come to learn we need to decolonize the way we talk about mountains, nature, and women. Mountains aren't something to be conquered, and neither are women. So back to our hashtag, Climb for Equality. It welcomes people of all genders to the conversations and to use social media as a tool to influence public opinion. And studies show that embracing diversity make an organization more successful and profitable. I've seen that too. Having a woman on your team in the backcountry makes you statistically less likely to get caught in an avalanche. So our goal with this campaign was to get 100 posts by the end of our Everest climb and get to 1,000 by the end of the year. So we have a couple hundred more to go. So if you want to lend your voice on Instagram to this campaign, we would be greatly appreciative. Because gender equality is more than a goal in itself. It is a precondition for meeting the challenge of reducing poverty, promoting sustainable development, and building good governance. And I want to see more women getting to the top. Now take another moment to picture in your mind's eye what a mountaineer looks like and what a leader looks like. I hope you now see a woman there.